Please welcome Sebastian Turner, founder of the Falling Walls Foundation.
Good morning. Two incredibly inspiring days are behind us, but I can tell you the most inspiring thing is still to happen. Usually it's the role of the organizer to set the tone for the day, to have the keynote. That's proper for usual times. As we do not have usual times, I asked another person to take over to set the keynote for the day. The Chancellor of Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Menahem Ben-Sasson, we are very honored that you share your thoughts for the beginning of this day. Thank you.
Commemorating persecution, celebrating freedom, sharing with knowledge. This is our message for the years that we established this conference. And indeed, these three values we share with for a long time. However, today is a different time. Israel is in pain, significant pain. It is facing a dissolving of fundamental values set in its foundations, and it's worth thinking together some of these values vis-à-vis today's events. It is a Jewish and democratic state. The nations made it a condition in November 1947, another time November, that two states are built. Partition decision was made November 47. You had to wait until 73 to be accepted to the nations. But the nations and you told us that we have to establish a Jewish, next to an Arab, democratic state based on constitution, equal elections, freedom of move. And we did it. It took us a year. We had to fight a war, and we made it. A constitution we haven't written yet. But it was instructed that we start together and we really built with non-condition a real democratic state. But 11 months ago we had elections. And these elections came out with different results, and the government announced multifaceted revolution threatening democracy. We approached you, friends, helping us, protecting our values, protecting democracy, protecting freedom of research, protecting universities. We were threatened. Millions went to the streets for 40 weeks. We demonstrated because we wanted to keep values. Values in common with all millions of the world's trillions of populations. It was protection for ourselves. It was the protection for what we started with. We share with the freedom responsibility of any individual in our state and worldwide. And on the way, in the last 75 years, we studied many lessons. How? One starts from the beginning many times. What is the meaning of restart? You were down in the 40s, we were down in 47, we restarted. You were down in the 40s. Look where you are nowadays. So we both know the secret of the restarting. How do we call it nowadays? Start up. We became startup nation. Well, the secret of startup is the power to rebuild yourself, to come from the ashes, to take off the gown the dark gown, to put on the white one, and to go ahead. And that's the secret of success. You know, by the way, that all of these months of demonstrations, we did a lot with these startup leaders in Israel. So this experience of startup is part of your message, our message today. It's a science summit. So we really share with the knowledge, how do we make the restart of the startup nations of the world from the ashes? And the third point. The third point, that we fooled ourselves all along, that we are the role model for all to keep security. We know how to guard, we know how to do intelligence, we know how to collect data, we know how to analyze data. We failed in 73, it's not going to be again. And we failed. 32 days ago, you saw us failing. We looked in the mirror and we do not believe ourselves. Where are we? This big nation, with the support of the world, failed to foresee, to analyze, and to understand that the common values that we share, not all of the world shares with us. Whenever you deal with terror, the beheading, the raping, the killing, the shaming, and then taking pictures of all of these in camera is part of the game. Terror cannot win. Terror can threaten civil society. We are not threatened. It took us 24 hours, and from then on, we are in the fronts. We, 5,000 of our students, 25,000 of all universities, scientists. The nation is in the front. A, we want to save 240 captives. B, we want to get rid of the ill. We want to get rid of the cruel. We want to make sure that it comes to a liberal person and people not to be persecuted anymore. At least, let's start with our region. Let's save ourselves and Palestinians. Let's make sure that in the future we are saved from these atrocities that we have just seen, and trust me, we are going to see more, because the footage is not released yet. So we have A, to win, and B, to start up. And if the value of startup is accessible, and it is accessible because we both were there, we are going to make it. We are going to start up, not forgetting the values, not making the winning out of atrocities, not out of shaming, not out of cruelty, and not taking a revenge. It's not about revenge. You know that we know how to be merciful. It's going to be with mercy, responsibility, and sharing with the future of the area. However, the most precious element is not the solidarity. It is important, and you are with us. You are the first. Those of you who are here in Berlin know that your ministry was among the first to send a letter. Your chancellor came to us. You know that each and every institute in Germany is sharing with the responsibility of defeating the evil. However, it's important but not enough. Resources, important but not enough. It will come. There are so many things to come for the startup. Now we need you, all of you, we need your time. We ask you to be patient with us. We like to finish wars in 6 days. It's not accessible every day. We like to finish it 2 months ago. We didn't want it. We don't want to kill innocent. We don't want to rescue our soldiers. Be patient with us. It takes time. It's trenches, one after the other. We ask the population to leave the north, and we need the time. We need the time to win. We need the time to keep. We need the time, and all of you, to restart. Thanks. Personal note. My mother is a Holocaust survivor from the Ukraine. You are going to hear about Ukraine today, and we share with hopefully the same value and hopefully the same future.
Thank you very much. We did not plan to have this forum for this kind of message because we did not want to have the events that made these messages necessary, but we are very grateful that you did talk to us. This forum was established with the support of quite a number of institutions. And as I've seen him in row number 5 down there, let me welcome in particular Jürgen Zöllner. He is the kind of, I don't know how to name it, the Jürgen Zöllner of Falling Walls. He is one of the fathers of the Excellence Initiative in Germany, and he contributed quite a bit to excellence in this conference. So a warm welcome to the city of Berlin and Jürgen Zöllner. I will not name each and everyone who supported, because then I could read the list of participants. But another person and institution to address and to say thank you to is the German Ministry for Education and Research. We are very happy, Minister Stark-Watzinger, that you are joining us. We are extremely grateful that you are continuously supporting, and we are eager to listen and to learn what you are going to tell us. Thank you. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Falling Walls Science Summit is taking place on a date which is steeped in our history. Today, on 9th of November, with images from Israel on our mind, we are thinking in particular of the grimaces of devil symbolized by Pogromnacht in 1938. And we are thinking of our responsibilities towards a country established in the wake of inconceivable human suffering. We are thinking of Shoah. We are remembering the millions of victims. And now we just heard it, the terrorist attacks perpetrated by Hamas on Jewish children and young people, women, men, elderly. Barbarism with the aim to annihilate Jewish life, with geopolitical repercussions we only start to envisage. Esteemed Professor Menahem Ben-Sasson, we firmly stand on the side of Israel. We stand by our special responsibility, recognizing anti-Semitism for what it is, and more, combating anti-Semitism that must be more than just paying lip service. We are responsible that our words are followed by actions. We have to stand strong to support Israel's right for self-defense, to stand strong with our rule of law when on the streets in our country crowds are celebrating terror. We have to fight conspiracy theories. We have to stand up, we have to speak up, and we are not allowed to look away. Anti-Semitism, whether directed at Israel or at any other person elsewhere, should not have room anywhere. Not in our schools, not in our schools, not on our streets, and not at our universities. On this really historical, significant day here in Berlin, I would therefore like to state clearly, all the more clearly, never again is now, and it will never stop. Ladies and gentlemen, freedom is not just under threat in Israel. The brutal Russian war of aggression on Ukraine has been going on now for 624 days. Ukrainian people are not only fighting for their freedom, we have to remember that they're fighting for our freedom as well. And the unyielding strength of Ukrainians impresses me deeply. I met a parliamentarian not long ago in Amsterdam, and she told about the first days. She said nobody believed we would survive the first days. Nobody believed in us that we would fight back our territory. So what is really impressing is that they make possible, Ukrainians make possible even that what was thought impossible, ladies and gentlemen. And Ukraine's Minister of Education, Mr. Lizovi, is currently visiting Germany, and I also want to say Germany stands firmly on the side of Ukraine. So what does that mean specifically? Of course, it is supporting Ukraine in this war that was brought upon Ukraine, forced upon Ukraine. But at the same time, it's also the commitment to rebuild your country on its accession to the European Union. But what it also means even more for me, is that those who enjoy freedom, us who enjoy freedom, that we really make use of our freedom. So let us too once again believe that we can make the impossible possible, that we can really do this. That is what the 9th of November also reminds us here in Germany. I'm talking about falling walls. The cries of 1989 on the streets in the east of our country, cries for freedom, they still ring in our ears. But even at the time when the citizens of the former East learned that they were free to travel, yes, travel right now, immediately, even then most of them could not imagine that that very night the barriers would fall. And yet many hurried to the checkpoints, they took the liberty in believing, and they managed to make the impossible possible. The Berlin Wall fell. It was a breakthrough in the truest sense of the word. So this experience gives us the impetus and drive to tackle today's challenges, and this is what the conference is also all about. Fighting climate change, giving better health to billions of people, nourishing billions of people. And the impetus for those who do not whine, but those who take the initiative, who take on problems that appear impossible to solve. There are so many in the research sector, in companies with a strong research orientation, in startups, and many here today in front of me. People with passion for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, let us release together internationally this energy for new breakthroughs. The most important prerequisite for that, we already have it, and that is freedom. The freedom to ask, the freedom to fail, the freedom of science. The greatest risk stems from people who avoid any risk, so the freedom to fail and stand up again. And that's where it all begins, scientific breakthroughs, innovations, both technological and social. So that's why next year's Science Year will be all about freedom, because it is my conviction that freedom is our greatest competitive advantage we have also against terrorism. We can do it, we can have these scientific breakthroughs like we hear now, despite all the doubts and the naysayers. A COVID vaccine, earlier, 10 months after a pandemic broke out. Impossible. That sentence still is in my ears. A little more than a year later, I had my second shot. And today, bringing the power of the sun down to earth, impossible? No. Researchers, politicians, and companies, we are all planning to build the first nuclear fusion reactor. Or take the genetic scissors, CRISPR-Cas, developed also in Germany, a historic opportunity to defeat hunger around the world. I'm talking about new breeding technologies. Pioneering ideas, pioneering innovations, they are there. Many of them have the potential to bring long-lasting improvements to our life. We need more of them, and we need them faster. That is the task, the obligation we have with our freedom. We want to support, my ministry wants to support, to unleash the talents and the ideas. So 3 short things we are planning right now. That's the DATI, the German Agency for Transfer and Innovation. It's aimed to create innovative ecosystem around universities of applied science. It's about regional commitment for ideas, talents, and innovation. Second spotlight, you probably don't have to mention it here, is the Federal Agency for Disruptive Innovation, our game changer for game changers. It's aimed more disruptive innovation, and the Sprint Freedom Act has now been presented to Bundestag, because whenever possible, we want to sprint. My third spotlight, and that is what we are currently working on, our next step. Bridges, they always spend something, a chasm, a gap. At least that's what ChatGPT tells us. And such gaps exist between innovation, between talent and money, between idea and the market. So bridges, they are complex structures. The iceberg, what you see is most of the time, it is only the tip of the effort. So it will be hard work, but we are working on that. That's what we start now. We start with IP, intellectual property transfer, for new culture of entrepreneurship at our universities, for more startups, faster, quicker. We cannot afford to lose time. We cannot afford to lose talents. So let us not be afraid to fail from time to time. We want more visionaries to be successful, showing how bright ideas became good practice. Ladies and gentlemen, I met stipends from Israel yesterday. I'm meeting the Ukrainian delegation today. Yes, there's going on a lot in the world around us right now, but that makes it more important to make progress where progress is possible, that we find the solutions for decarbonization, for digitalization, and demographic challenges. Because we have the freedom to do so, it is our obligation to do so. Let us live the freedom. Let us use our freedom. And I know you will make that throughout the day today. Thank you for your work, for your input. Have a wonderful conference today.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Minister. Freedom is our competitive advantage. It is the base of relevant academic work, and it is defended these days, in particular in Ukraine. We planned to have the colleague of yours, the Ukrainian Minister for Science, to have in the room, because we do not wish to pay attention only to one place where freedom is challenged and humanity is challenged. We want to have our eyes on Ukraine as well. I'm incredibly grateful that very shortly stepping in for the minister is an outstanding person. The minister is having negotiations to twist and bend the German government to give more money. This is very important. So I very well understand that he is negotiating with your colleagues, maybe the finance minister. Maybe you can talk to him as well to help as much as we can. And so we have the honor to welcome Oleksandra Antoniouk, if I pronounce it more or less well. Please come to stage.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You are the new elected president?
Head of
Head?
the Scientific Committee of Ukrainian Wissenschaftsrat.
And you are incredibly well in getting accustomed to new situations, because you learned that you will be speaking here just on very short notice.
Yeah,
We are-
yesterday evening.
Thank you very much. The stage is yours.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see you all. I would like to ask you, raise your hand who ever been in Ukraine, please. Wow. Okay, thank you. And who were in Ukraine last year? Wow. My first experience with Germany was in 1968, thanks to Humboldt Foundation. I was Humboldt Fellow, and that time it was just beginning of Ukrainian independence. And when people asking me where I'm from, I said from Ukraine. They said, where is it? In Australia? In research conferences, it was easier. No, I answered, no, it's not. Where's Chernobyl? Everyone knows, Chernobyl, yes. On the mathematical conference, I'm a mathematician. I'm not professional political or doing something of that. In mathematical conferences, people ask me also, where are you from? I said, I'm from Ukraine. Oh, where is it? I said, okay, maybe you know Skorokhod. Skorokhod is a very famous name, and no one knew that this is from Ukrainian name. Everyone thought it's a Russian name. It's a famous mathematician who created a statistic process, very famous. Everyone in mathematics knows. So what I would like to say that nowadays, no one asks me what Ukraine is, and I'm very happy of that. But maybe not everyone knows that Ukraine as a state exists maybe since 12th century. If you have been in Ukraine and read about that, you know this famous Sofia Cathedral. It was built by Yaroslav the Wisdom, and his daughter was the queen of the France. So maybe not of you are aware of what is really the new history of Ukraine is. Maybe you start from 30 years ago, but actually the first Ukrainian republic was granted in 1918. It was for 1 year independent Ukrainian republic, but after that, Bolsheviks has aggression against us again. So somehow history repeats itself. And I'm very thankful for your support. Everything what you're doing is very important for us. And I would like to invite you open for yourself Ukraine, since we also open us for ourselves. We were not expected that we will be so brave in the beginning of that war. My husband went from the first days in the territorial defense, and he explained me how it was not enough weapon to the people who came, and some of them brought to home. But of course, comparing to Russia, we are smaller, much smaller. And if we just account for the population, okay, of course, yes, they are bigger. And in this case, how we may survive? We just want to survive, nothing more, as you. So the same situation as Israel. We just want to live, nothing more, and for that we need to defend ourselves. But to defend, we need weapons. The technology wins the now wars. So I would not like to be very long, but what I would like to say, please, Ukrainians will not give up. We have during the World War time, there are several projects created in Ukraine. For example, International Center for Mathematics in Ukraine. Thank you, Professor Bourguignon, for supporting this. Also, it was created new university. American University Kyiv has started his first intake in 2022. Also, I may give an example of my project, Innovation Science Park, which we, due to the support of BMBF, we have a feasibility study how to create in Kyiv Science Park on the basis on the experience of Aldershof. And we just finished our feasibility study before the war, and we launched it later. So in the beginning of war don't stop us. We don't give up. Please, I ask you, don't give up in supporting us. Please continue your support. Thank you.